Welcome to our cozy corner of tales and adventure. Tonight, we're transported to the ancient land of Greece, where myth and magic weave together in the most enchanting ways. From the timeless collection of Greek Odyssey, a legendary journey awaits, filled with bravery, wisdom, and the unbreakable bonds of brotherhood. Let's begin our captivating tale, The Young Princes.
The Young Princes. In the previous episode, we heard that Odysseus is washed up on the shore of Phaeacia. The Phaeacian king and queen welcome him and give him food and a place to rest. But Odysseus does not reveal his true identity. The story continues. The king invited Odysseus to accompany him to the sports field, where his sons and other subjects would be engaged in sports. The stranger must go home and tell his friends that the people of Phaeacia excel in sports and are the best in the whole world in athletic games, he declared. The king led the way, and a big crowd followed them. They once again went down to the assembly point beside the ships and sat down on the two white stones. The people gathered around them and waited for the games to begin. The first sport was a running race. 3 young men who were the king's sons stood ready at the starting line. The distance was measured from the starting line and the finishing line was marked. They bent down and at the signal dashed off together. Dust rose up behind them, obscuring the runners. The crowd cheered loudly. Faster and faster they ran, one ahead, then the other, when finally Clytoneus, with a mighty effort, ran ahead of them. He won the first place by reaching the finishing line way before the others. Other sports then followed, wrestling, leaping, boxing, and then throwing the discus. The games were interesting and the contestants were well matched. Every man put forth his best effort to please his king and his guest, the stranger. When it was time for the last event, Laodamas, one of the princes, turned to his brother and said, "Let us invite the stranger to compete with us in the games. He will be a worthy opponent. Look at the size of his thighs and the strength of the muscles on his neck." "Yes, you are right," agreed his brother. "Let us challenge him at this last event." Laodamas approached Odysseus and said, "Stranger, we would like to invite you to compete with us in the games. You seem strong, and we all know that the man wins his greatest glory when he earns it with his own hands." But Odysseus was not very keen on participating. Time on time he looked in the direction of his home and wished that he could go there soon. He replied, "Ah, Laodamas, please do not ask me to compete, for I am very sad. Nothing will interest me until I reach my far-off home." The youngest prince, Euryalus, rudely mocked him, saying, "Alas, this stranger seems to be a trader or a miser, and not an athlete. He cares only for his gold and nothing else." Odysseus was furious when he heard these words. His eyes flashed with rage. "Young man," he thundered, "your speech angers me. It is true that I have seen many troubles, but I have overcome all of them. I am willing to participate in your games." He rose to his feet with his cloak still on, and picked up a discus, which was larger and heavier than those that had been used by the previous competitors. With a swift whirl, he sent it flying. It flew so far that people stood on their toes and craned their necks to see where it would land. It finally landed at a spot far beyond the others. A person from the crowd ran out to check it and loudly declared, "Oh, this is far beyond the rest. The stranger has won without a doubt." The crowd roared its approval. Encouraged by them, Odysseus threw off his cloak and stood with folded arms and looked at the princes who had challenged him. "I am willing to challenge all of you," he said. "I can throw a discus twice as far as I have thrown now. I may be old, my joints stiff, and my body may be worn out by my long journey, but I am willing to wrestle or box or run with any man here who will challenge me." But the princes now stood silently, for they knew that they would not be able to match his skill. The king looked around, and seeing no one come ahead, decided to save the situation by saying, "Stranger, we do not deny your skill. You have proved without a shadow of doubt that you could defeat anyone who dares challenge you. But our young men are more skilled in the art of dancing than they are at running or wrestling. Laodamas, bring your men and show us some dancing. Perhaps the stranger will appreciate our dancing skills." Laodamas and another dancer stepped forward. Laodamas held a soft purple ball, which he threw to the other dancer. They started throwing the ball slowly at first, from hand to hand, going backwards and forwards with rhythmic steps, then gradually faster and faster, adding the motions of bending and twisting and leaping around with marvelous skill. The other teammates gathered around them and beat their hands and feet in time with the music. The purple ball always seemed to be in the air as the dancers moved very fast. As the dance came to an end, Odysseus stood up and clapped for the dancers. "That was indeed an excellent performance," he said to the king. "Your dancers excel at dancing above all others I have seen." The men who were standing near Odysseus heard his words of praise. They told the people next to them, and the word quickly spread round the crowd. The people of Phaeacia were pleased with the stranger who had visited them. "Let us now give our guest the stranger's gift. He is a man of understanding, and we are lucky to have him visit us," said the king. "Euryalus, you go first, as you were rude to our guest." Euryalus unbound his sword. It was a sheath of ivory and a silver hilt. He placed it in Odysseus' hands, saying, "Please forgive me, for I spoke harshly. I pray that God grant your every wish, and you soon find your way home to your family." Odysseus thanked him and said, "May God grant you good fortune, and may you never miss this sword." This brings us to the end of this episode. Join us in the next episode as we hear about the happenings at Ithaca in Odysseus' absence. The end.
As we conclude The Young Princes from our Greek Odyssey collection, remember that courage and perseverance can lead to great accomplishments, and it's essential to learn from our mistakes. To explore more stories from this collection and cultures around the world, download the Story Waves app from Apple or Android app stores. A Story Waves subscription costs less than $1 a month, making it one of the most affordable ways to bring quality stories to your family. All new stories are available on the Story Waves app, and the most exciting content is only available on the app. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow Story Waves on Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify for updates on upcoming content. Thank you warmly for watching.